Today I'll be turning this pile of asparagus into crunchy, yummy, shelf-stable asparagus pickles. Let's do it. First order of operation is we'll need to rinse this off really good. After it's washed, I cut off the little bottom ends. This is just where it has previously been cut and I want this off. It's usually a little dried out. This gets discarded. And now we need to snap these guys because there is still a bottom part that's really too hard to eat. And we'll now show you how to do that. Now we have to get this rough bottom part off. What we'll do is we'll bend it going up and at some point it will snap. Put this aside. Here's another one. We'll bend it going up and where it snaps, it's good. This one may snap higher, very high. Okay, now these from the bottom we put aside and the rest is what we'll work with. And now these bottom parts that were tough, that were cracked off, see they're totally fibery. I take these away. If I have broth to make, I put them in right away. Otherwise, they can go in a baggie in the freezer. And if you ever make a chicken broth or beef broth, whatever broth, vegetable broth, they can go in just to impart the flavor because they're too tough to eat. So, in order to get these in these glasses, they will have about 1/2 inch headspace, but I cut them off at the 1 inch mark, which is this rim right there. So I'll put my hand in, roughly leave my thumb on there, and then I can go and snap it right there. And this is my guide. I have this one now, and then the rest just gets lined up and cut. Now, here is the part that's important. These tips, once they're been in the canner, they get super soft. And I don't like the mushy ones, so even though it doesn't look so nice, I will have only the bottom parts in it. All done. They're gonna look like this. This is the cream of the crop. I can eat them raw and they're so good. We'll have them for dinner. And now it's time to make the brine and to can them up. Everything's set for canning. Here are my Tadler lids. I use only Tadler lids. They have to heat up really well. Then I have the water going. Wait for this to boil. And here is the 50% vinegar, 50% water. The recipe is below. It's from Ball Blue Book for canning asparagus. They recommend using the standard pickling mix. I don't do that because it has the cinnamon in it. So I'll just make my own. That's hot pepper flakes. The green stuff is coriander. It's out from the garden. I don't have any dried one right now. The green works too. Mustard seeds, some dill seeds, and the crumbled up bay leaf. And that just goes in here while it heats up together with the salt. I do not add sugar. And then in the glass directly, I will put some couple peppercorns for each glass and a little bit of garlic. And now we're just waiting on everything to bubble and we can put it in. The jars have to be heated up, and this is where I'm super lazy. I have a microwave. I don't use it for anything but drying out eggshells so I can feed them back to the chickens and for warming up my glasses before canning. Because it's super convenient. It's right above the stove. So one other thing. I use the small half pints. That's because we don't eat a huge amount of pickles and because it makes it so easy to put the thick bottom stems in there. If you really want to put whole asparagus in, get these 1.5 pints. They work great. It's just that the bottom is packed tightly then, and on the top, the spears and the spear tops are not so tight, so they may get a little soft and tip over. This looks beautiful, but it's not the option I want to eat. We'll stick with the little ones. There we are. First one to be filled. Putting my spares in it, which is semi-difficult because this is really hot, the glasses. And then somewhere in between, 2 peppercorns, some garlic slivers. I should have put them on the bottom. The brine, the pickling brine smells delicious. Okay, I think this is all we fit in there. Maybe I can jam one more in. Another one right here. So it's a little bit tedious work, but it's packed nice and tight. Now we'll top off with the pickling brine that has been boiling for a little bit. And I'm gonna fill this to 1/4 inch to the top. Almost there. Beautiful. Paper towel in water, clean the rim. We gotta make sure we get the air bubbles out. I don't foresee too many being in there because it sits upright, but it's still better to do it. Must have been some in because I'm a little bit short on brine now. And we'll fetch a Tadler lid. Put this on. There. And in the pot it goes. Couple more to go. Eventually the water needs to be about 1 inch over the jar, and once the jars go in, the water level comes up, so it'll be perfect. Last one's ready and going into the pot now. The recipe requests to parboil, to blanch the asparagus before pickling it. Apparently this is done so that the asparagus is softer and will more readily soak up the brine juice. I don't go there. I let it sit for 2 or 3 weeks before we even try it, and it should be fine taste-wise. Also, I was hoping I had more pickling brine left, because the plan was to combine this with some leftover gherkin pickle juice, bring it to a boil, and then put hard-boiled eggs in it and put it in the fridge for pickled eggs. But I don't know. I don't get more than 2 eggs out of this. I may still do it anyway. So the pot's on, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll take them out. So time's up, and the last one's coming out. The Tadler lids have to be tightened when they come out. And now we'll let them sit and cool, and then I'll wait 2 weeks, and we'll open one up and see what the consistency is. All lined up, waiting to cool off. And the pickled eggs worked out too. So here comes the taste test. They've been sitting now for 10 days. See how firm they are? They're awesome. There's no wobbly. They are firm, not mushy, and they even have a crunch when you eat them. It really tastes like it, and the texture of it, it's like one of these little baby gherkins you can get. So good. Those mini cucumbers that have the crunch still. No mush to it. It tastes like a really crunchy pickle. It's very delicious.